Turning. All right, there it is. What's up, George? What's going on in the House of Craze tonight?
We have a lot going on in the House of Craze tonight. Tonight we are going to be talking to Mr. Ilarian Stark. Oh, and we're going to be talking. Jesus Christ, I got messed up over here. And we're going to be talking to him about Universum. We're also going to be doing a Get Your Mets segment. How much freedom do indie creators really have? Let's just go. Let's just go.
Yeah, this guy's a hot mess tonight. Let's get it.
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the Dreamer, Medina, and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your meds, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the Craze. If you are an independent, catch the Craze. Making moves on your own, catch the Craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the Craze. Join the movement, catch the Craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze. Welcome to Catch the Craze podcast. I'm your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and I am with
George, the Dreamer, Medina. Wow, what a mess. That was a mess at the beginning. Thank you, everyone, for welcome to another exciting episode, Lou. Another exciting episode, Gilly Gill, of Catch the Craze. We are live. It is Tuesday, June 27th.
Word.
Damn, dog, almost the end of June. We're heading into July. 4th of July is next week. 4th of July is next week.
Crazy.
So,
huh?
But we are coming to you live tonight. We have a very good guest. Let me clean this up a little bit.
Why don't you clean this up?
We have a very, very, very interesting guest tonight. Ilarian Stark, love the name. He's got the Universum. It's on globalcomics.com, and it looks like it's a whole I want to say a universe almost of characters. It looks like. So we're gonna be talking to him. Hey, there's Mr. Ryan Medina. Welcome, sir. Thank you for coming on. What up, Dad? And yeah, so we're gonna be talking to him tonight. And we're also going to be talking about, how much freedom do indie creators really have? We're going to be discussing that a little bit. We'd like to hear your thoughts. Plus, we have some announcements, obviously, about what's going on in the House of Craze and with the stuff that we're doing. So I'm going to hand it off to you, Sammy. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing, man. I'm doing. Burning both ends of the candle. I'm doing, but trying to survive. So if anybody's out there who's been waiting for the next Crazy Nintendo less, I've been busy, unfortunately, with work, and the new video on the art channel. Work has been tying me up, so I've just been
9 to 5.
It's been crazy. I've been busy with all that stuff, and so. Dang, the last time I was here, you were at 1,000 subs. Look at you now. Hey, what's up, David? Into his house.
What up?
Yeah, no, they said it's supposed to get better after 1,000, so it looks like it is. But so thank you. I do appreciate everybody. But a lot of things coming up. I'm still waiting. I just freaking sent another email to Comics Wellspring saying, "Where's my stuff?" I already approved the proof a couple of weeks ago, so I'm waiting for the proofs to come in so I can start sending the Kickstarters out to everybody out there. If you don't know, Duty's in a comic strip published by a kid in a comic. So Duty is, I have a contract for 7 strips. I already submitted 4, and it's available at akidinacomic.com. If you haven't visited their website, akidinacomic.com, right. It's a newspaper comic strip with tons of comics by tons of fantastic industry artists and activities and puzzles and all that other stuff. So that's exciting, and it's been hitting stores nationwide, and there's some more stuff to come with that. But
it comes out every
I think every month for 7 months, at least for my contract. And I did get the proofs a few weeks ago for the graphic novel for Designated in My Toilet, which is pretty dope. I'm excited about this, and for issue number 5 as well. So those were the proofs. I've been working on issue 6 with a expected Kickstarter launch date of October. So that's going, but and then I'm getting ready for my appearances in August. I got two appearances. I'll be at the Denton Comic Art Exposition in Denton, Texas, and then after that, I'll be doing a book signing at Collected Comics for the grand opening of their newest store. And I'll be there with a bunch of people like Ben Dunn and Paul Gomez. So that's going to be exciting. So I'm looking forward to that. But the big news for all you artists out there, for the big news, it's time to get your duty on. You know, do you like to draw funny stuff and comedy and aliens and all that stuff? Well, let's see what you got. So I'm holding a contest, Draw Duty contest, and the winner will be awarded $100, 1 month free promotion on Cast Craze podcast, a one-on-one interview on the show, plus your work and your bio will be featured in book number 6 of There's an Alien in My Toilet. So it's pretty dope. All you have to do is go here to dutiesworld.com, and when you get to dutiesworld.com, you click on enter the contest details, and it'll take you to this page, and it has all the details. Basically, is draw duty and one of the characters from the series in a dramatic comedic scene. Any medium of choice, no AI. So it's got to be your artwork, no AI. And deadline is August 1st to have your submissions in. The winners will be announced in August live on Cast the Craze. As I receive the entries, they'll be posted on dutiesworld.com. And there'll be a chance for everybody to vote as well. And it's pretty dope. So there's specific guidelines on to how to submit this stuff, where to submit it. So I suggest that you go to the website, look up all that information. I've already started receiving some submissions, so I'm excited about that. But again, remember, just follow the directions, and it will be judged on your ability to capture the essence of duty in a comedic, dramatic scene. So it's pretty dope.
So all right, so hold on. So let me see. So you draw duty and another character from the book, from the series. So the dad, the son, Herman, and just those characters specifically.
Yes. So and if you click here for references, if you click here, it'll take you to the character designs. So you'll get to see what the references are and who the characters are and all that stuff. And you can pick whatever character you want.
So what happened? You clicked it? I want to see.
No, I was just I can't wait to see them. Yes, and I think Lou is entering too, right?
All right, Lou.
So, yes.
So you don't have the designs on there?
I haven't posted. No, I just started getting. Oh yeah. If you click here, it'll take you, and then you just start going down. You got a lot of different references of duty.
Nice,
and then you go down. You'll see some of the characters like 3D. You got the Emperor. You got Poo Poo. You got Agent Doe. You got a bunch of characters and references. So you can choose from for the series. Any one of those characters will do. But again, it's got to be duty into one of the characters, and they just have fun.
Can you draw duty and say, for example, duty as somebody else in the same scene? Can you clone him?
Tell it to me like I was 2 years old.
Oh, okay. So, so you know how you had duty there as, for example, Captain Caveman. All right. So can you then draw duty and duty as Captain Caveman in the same scene doing something funny or dramatic?
No, it's got to be duty in one of my characters, not somebody, not as.
Okay, that's what I'm clarifying. Because on that page you see him as, because he's the cop.
Yeah, it's just really giving you a different point of references of duty and how he meshes up. But so you have different poses and angles of duty. So it's pretty fun. So it's an opportunity. Number one, you get a whole month of free exposure on Cast the Craze, a one-on-one interview, plus you get featured in the book, and you get $100 for the winner. And for all the other entries, you'll also everybody will get a chance to get interviewed on Cast the Craze who enters, and they will have their the image and their name also in the book. Not as a feature, but all together. And with their link to their social handles. So all your submissions, when you submit it, make sure you submit it with your social handles, because when I post it on the website, I'll have a link directly to your whatever website or social media you want it to go to.
Roger that. All right, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah, so join today. Duty interacting with Duty. Exactly, right? That's what I'm talking about. But no, it's got to be a different character. Luke, can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see.
I can't wait too.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Yes.
That's awesome, my brother.
I think.
That's awesome.
What is this? I think my entry is already.
Oh.
Yeah, you know what it is? Because that's what I found out. I had a couple people reach out to me. And I was like, they never went to the website. I said, I put the link. Go to the website, see what it is, see the instructions.
You got to understand, Sam. You when you put all that writing, people are not going to read every single.
I didn't put all that writing.
You got to make it nice and simple. You know what I'm saying? Nice and simple.
Look, yes,
I'm telling you, I mean, listen. I'm easily confused, I must admit. But seeing a few images of Duty makes me think, if I can draw Duty as this, interacting with Duty, I'm good to go. But you're saying, no, it's got to be Duty and a separate character.
Yeah,
not
so
Duty.
I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you something.
Uh-oh.
So it says, hey, all, thought I'd share some amazing opportunities to win some dinero and lots more. Time to get your Duty on and win big. Details here. Click the link. And that's it. Bam.
Right. Click that link. Let's see it. Let's see that
Click
link.
the link.
Let's see how long the next link is. Just for blanks and giggles. Let's just see that.
Bam.
Oh, look at all that. You think I'm going to read all those details?
Well, if you're going to walk through life being dumb or you're going to read.
No. It's not about being dumb.
It's like, what the hell?
There's a difference between being dumb and lazy. I'm lazy.
No. The one that I'm doing has to be done regardless. Oh, snaps. Now you got me excited. I think
you got to soften the reins a little bit, bro. I think if they draw Duty as a clone of himself, I think that counts. Because he is the ultimate cosplayer, bro.
When you do a contest, you can create all the rules you want. So that is how it is. That's it. I'm not changing it up because people already started submitting. I'm not changing it up already because it's not fair to them. So I'm just leaving it as is. And that's the way it goes.
Damn.
That's just the way it is.
Getting all testy.
Some people never change.
See, guys, see how he gets? He gets a 9-to-5 job and he gets all stressed out. Look at the beard. You're getting the white in the beard.
Look at this. Look at the white, bro.
As a youngster, look at you. You're getting all excited and stuff. Jesus.
Yo, bro.
Let's go to what I got to do here.
Wait, you mic. Hold on.
Let's start a little bit with what'd you say?
I was gonna mute your mic. What?
You son of a no. So Russ 5377 is now on Anyone World. So I had a nice little Instagram live with Mr. Hades himself earlier today. Big shout out to Ryan Medina and Lupin, who was there today. Thank you very much, guys, for coming on. And we were talking about Russ 5377 coming to the Anyone World platform. So the digital copy of issue number 1 is on the website, and we're releasing it tomorrow. But Paul got excited. He said, "Yo, George, it's on right now." So big shout out to Paul Hayden and LA Cunningham who hooked that up. So if you guys go to anyoneworld.com right now, you can pick up the first issue. It's there. The digital issue's there. So pick it up, read it. Let me know what you think. So that's exciting news. Thank you so much again for it, and I hope you guys enjoy the book. So go there and check it out. The digital copies are there now. Also, on Wednesday, July 19th, from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., meet the team of Designated, which is a comic book created by Mr. Mark Torres, as pictured there. In the
Marky, the Funky Bunch.
That's right. My man's been working on this for 30 years. 30 hard, long years. So finally, his book is out. He's doing a book signing on that day. Not yet, Daph. Not yet. That's coming. So go there. It's in Flushing. It's in Flushing, Queens. The store is a Royal Collectibles. So go check it out. 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. on July 19th. That is a Wednesday. So we're very excited that we're going to do that. Big shout out to him. He's been working on that a long time. I'm here pretending to be Hades. He probably fell asleep. It's 1:00 in the across the pond over there. So big shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for the love. Yes. So that's happening. What else is going on, Sam?
What else is going on? I got this book. I can't wait to dive into it. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild art of book. It is thick. It is dope. I can't wait to get in this. It's fantastic, bro.
That's big time. Big time.
You know me. I'm a big art of book guy.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited about this one.
I'm gonna have a few more announcements to make for the later on this year, because I got some stuff coming up this year. So Daphne made a comment about that. That's coming soon. And I'm also going to be doing a little writing for ASAP Imagination. One of their titles is called Dead of Night, and I'm very excited about that. I'm gonna be writing issues 2 through 4, so that's gonna be cool. We're gonna be doing that. So yeah, it's a bunch of stuff, man. It's a bunch of stuff. But speaking of indies, Sam,
What
why don't
about
we
them?
go to a little
What about those? What about them peoples?
It's time for your medicine.
How much freedom do indie creators really have?
Wow. Okay. All right. That was evil. Well, so Sam, how many times? And I'm guilty of this too. You know, I love the fact that we're indie creators because we can write and draw and create whatever we want.
Word.
We have the freedom to do
Yes.
this, right? Until we decide we want to sell these bad boys. We want to make some money off of our creations. We want to, send it out and the masses are going to love it and buy it and then they can take it off the shelves. Then our freedoms start getting a little smaller and smaller and smaller because now you have to make sure that the masses love it, or maybe you want the masses to love it because you want to make a little money, right? Then you talk about, okay, well, how long is this book going to be? Because if I'm going to print it, as much as my self-imposed deadlines allow me. Hey, Lord. So, yes, what happens when you wrote a 192-page story, but printing that story is going to cost you, I don't know, $10 a book, $15, $20 a book, depending on who you're going through. What happens then? Do you then trim it down so that you can afford to print it because otherwise it'll never get out? Or do you go digital and say, who cares? Because it's just going to go digital. Well, what do you think, Sam? How much freedom do indie creators really have?
I think you have the freedom to create, but I think in today's society, when you want to commercialize your property, that freedom comes at a cost, right? And that means sometimes you have to tailor things, especially if you're trying to pitch it to a publisher. The publisher might say you need to change this, change that. So that freedom starts going away, right? So all of those creative liberties that you had in the beginning might be stripped down. I was watching an interview with Jim Davis, right? And he was talking about how initially the mothers didn't approve of Garfield, right? And they just thought it was very negative and sending a bad message to the kids. But as other things started being introduced, whether it was The Simpsons, whether it was South Park, all these other things, Garfield became the comic strip of choice for mothers because they felt it was the safest bet, right? Because now the shock factor started changing, right, and the world started changing, right? So in the beginning, it affected his sales, and then once the mother started buying into it, it just started propelling, and all these other things started coming, right? So I think the world will determine whether or not you have the freedoms you think you have, and what you do with that information, and how it all depends. Do you sacrifice your creative liberties to make money and get your stuff out there, or do you stand by your laurels and you say, you know what, I'm going to hold firm? But that means that you no longer have the free range that you thought you did when you were just creating in the house. So I think it all depends on where you are in the scheme of things, and once people start having to put their money out, that's when your freedom changes.
Yeah, I also think that when we first start, right, we have this idea that, oh man, I'm just going to write this because it's a story I want to write, and you write it and you put it and you try to put it out. You realize maybe it's not selling as well as you thought it was going to sell. Then you go and maybe you create something else. But I think that our freedom to create and our freedom, as an indie creator, kind of you gain more freedom as your name becomes more popular. So, for example, somebody like Brian Pulido, right? He can write whatever he wants. He can do whatever he wants at this point because his fan base is going to buy it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Todd McFarlane. Todd McFarlane at this point can, poop on a piece of paper and sell it, and it'll buy it and sell it, and it'll sell, right? So I think once you create that name, then it's almost like you get your freedom back, because then you can create like you wanted to create. Until then, if you want to, again, if you want to sell your product, there are certain things you got to abide by. And you don't have to. You don't have to, right? You can choose whatever you want to do. But I think if you want to sell your book, or if you want your book to make it into a publisher's hands, and that publisher is going to post it, you're going to have to kind of like give up some of those freedoms until you make it.
Yeah, you brought up an interesting point, because I'm thinking about the world today, right? So Tom McFarlane, right? Think about this from just the all the things that we're going through in society right now with the racial implications, right? And imagine he introduced Spawn today, and he's a non-African American creating a story about an African American hero. Would he have the same
Right. Yeah.
perception
Good question. Yeah.
back then, right? Because it wasn't a conversation back then, right? It was about the comic book and the character and all that stuff. Today it'd be a different conversation. Would he have to have changed the character because of what's happening in society? So I think those are the things that we have to consider when we are thinking about our projects. Where does it fit in the scheme of things? Is it going to get resistance? And am I willing to muscle through that?
Yeah. No, it's true. And I think Lori had here, I've definitely shut some doors because I wanted to do things a certain way, and walking through those doors meant I couldn't, but it tends to lessen the reach. Yeah, I mean, and that's part of that creative freedom, right? And like you said, Sam, we are free to create. That's never going to stop. That freedom doesn't go away. You are free to create. But I think that when we talk about, oh man, I love doing this because I can write whatever I want, and I can, and I can do whatever I want, and you can. But once you want to monetize that, it becomes a little harder to do that, to do those
in any field. Because think about it, Joe Rogan's been doing podcasts since 2005, right? And there was no problem, and he was bigger than life. But the moment he started having people on his show that were not popular with the left or the right, then everybody came down on him, right? But the moment he had an opinion about something, so now his freedom to be who he was from the onset, because he was the same Joe Rogan from 2005 than he was now, things change, right? So I think those are the things you have to consider. And not everybody's going to have the capital or the reach or the support that someone like a Joe Rogan would have. So when you're starting out, there's going to be some things that you're going to have to sacrifice in order to get your name out there and build that reputation. Always brave not to compromise your art, even if it makes it harder. I admire that dedication. Yeah, I mean, I think, look, you're always going to have a critic, right? I think it just gets more challenging when it's time to now get into stores, because all you need is somebody to say that you have done something. Yeah, and then it just changed the whole dynamic of that.
Yeah.
Was it the question creators have to ask is, are you creating a product
or are you creating art?
Oh yeah.
And once
you make the decision,
the consequences. Exactly right. That's exactly right. Hey lads, popping in to say, hey, what up, man? All right, big shout out to them.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I thought it was an interesting discussion to have, because we have to be realistic about what and exactly what Daphne said. You have to make the decision, right? Is it a product or is it art? What is it? It can't be both. It can't be. In your mind, it's both, right? But realistically, you have to choose.
Yeah.
Is it product or is it art? And am I willing to change that art to make it a product that people will buy?
And is it something that you'll stand tall with? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you love what you're doing? Is there a purpose for what you're doing? Is it in line with your overarching goals? And if you can say yes to all that, then who cares, right? I don't create art. I sell myself. That may be too much. $15. Right?
Make you
So, right. And so again, it's like you gotta make a decision. Right? There was a point, even in this journey, right? We've been in the game for a minute. There's a point in this journey where I said, you know what? This is what I'm gonna do for the foreseeable future. And right, wrong, or indifferent, you're part of, you join me on the train, or you don't join me on the train, but I'm going to do this project and I'm going to stick with it because I love this project dearly and I love this character, and I'm fine with the outcome, but it's going to be on my terms, right? So and speaking of that, David, what did you say? They have a website for that. So I've been approached multiple times, but I won't compromise. So there's some things that I just won't compromise. So yeah, like Cunningham said, it's some doors are closed, means you limit your reach. But I can sleep at night saying I'm not going to compromise my character, my storyline, my integrity, just to make a quick buck. You know what I mean? It's for me. It's really I want to do this long term. So the day will come when the stars and moon align. When that comes, no one can tell. I'm just going to keep grinding and having fun doing what I'm doing, and that's the only message I can say to anybody else. But you're gonna, unless you just want that quick buck and you don't care how you alter the character or whatever you have to do, then that's a different story. But if this is something that is a passion project and you believe in it, be prepared because there might be some things that you're going to have to deal with and questions you're going to have to answer.
Yeah, I think timing also has a lot to do with that too. Charlie Williams, what up, brother? But that's a good thing that we're in time frame. We have more control over our creation and content. Well, yeah. I mean, I think that's where I was going with the time. Like timing is everything, right? Like when you think about some of the things that come out, they come out at the right time. You know, like you said, Todd McFarlane, creating that character back in the 90s, here's a white man creating a black character, nobody batted an eye. You know what I mean? I don't know if most people knew he was black. I mean, when it first came out, they just saw this cool ass character and they were like, yo, this is dope. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And that's an example that I want to talk about was the Turtles, right? When you look at the original comics of the Turtles, they were a lot darker than what we saw, what I remember seeing in the cartoons of the late 80s, early 90s. You know what I mean? So they obviously changed some things to get the exposure that they wanted. So again, you gotta decide, do I want to do that? I don't want to be that guy, but once corpos get involved with the project, you probably lose control. The reason I'm an indie creator now and not a corporate wage earner anymore.
Exactly, and that's exactly my point. It's I've had a lot of different options in the past year and a half, and for me, I look back and I say I know what I want and I know what I don't want, so I'm good. I'm good here, and you got to be okay with saying no. It's like it's that's the hard part, right? It's like damn, right? But I'm like no, because I know what I want, and I think that's what it is. You got to know. You got to answer the questions for yourself. What do you want? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to give up? And then stick to it. Don't flip flop. Just stick to it, and your day will come. I think I truly believe that. The universe compliments you one way or the other. Hard work pays off long term. It's just you just don't decide when. You just got to keep putting out the content and doing what you do and the best thing is just have fun. If you can't have fun doing it, then why even do it at all? It's like I sit down when I did drawing, I laugh out loud to myself and I'm having fun, just telling his story. That's worth more than gold, bro. I mean, laughter goes a long way, and you just gotta be passionate about it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely.
I was watching a video with what's his name? Benitez, Joe Benitez, and David Finch. I think that's his name, right? The inker, the illustrator, right? So they were talking about Benitez was saying how he doesn't like to do the interior pages. He loves just doing covers and pinups. He goes, the interiors work for him, right? Yeah, but he has to do it. But it feels like work. Where he has the most fun is doing the other part, right? So it's like, you got to figure out. But that's the sacrifice he's made to be in the game and make comics, right? And you talk about been a corporate wage earner for 25 years. I'm so ready to break free and do more. Yeah, I hear you, brother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's so hard to break free from that, man.
It is. I mean, I just went back, that 18 months that I had as a brokepreneur, it was liberating, bro. Yeah. Right. But the reality came then, the well ran dry. I needed to go back. And, because of my experience in the business, I go in at a high level. And the demand on my time is extreme. So I'm tired now when I come home. I'm not putting out the same amount of pages when I come home. I'm maybe doing 2 pages a week, where before I was doing 5 a week, 6 a week.
Right. And a show, and a drawing show live, right? Like,
yes, and the podcast and all that stuff, right? So it's like, so those are the things, right? I wish I could just do it 100% full time. I had a taste of it, and it was the best thing in the world. And but But the reality is, we all have to pay the bills, and
And that right there is why it's so hard to say no sometimes.
yeah,
When people come over and say, "Hey, we'll give you this much for that,"
yeah,
that reason right there, because of that freedom you had, right? And if you could just make a living doing that, that would be the best. So sometimes it's so hard to say no to that, to that temptation and take the check
it is because I
and
had some
bounce.
really, but I'm like, but when I looked at it, I was giving everything. I was giving too much away, and I was like, no,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I want to have, if I'm going to enter the game, into the commercial arena, where now that with an organization that has the reach and being able to support my project holistically, then I want to be able to have generational income, right? If the life of the project, there has to be money coming in. I'm not selling off the rights, and that's what most people want. They want to just remove you from the scene and just take the rights to whatever and give you a little check, and then you think you're okay.
Yeah.
No, and so it's like I want my stake in the game. I want creative control. I want whatever it is, consulting, whatever it is. But and until that's, it may never happen, but at least I know that, and I think in life, you got to stand for something. And so for me, it's like, what? I protected my brand. I protected my character. I know there's an audience out there. I meet them all the time. One day, the audience will speak up for me, and then that demand will translate. But you just got to keep grinding. So anybody out there, stick to your game. I mean, same thing I say to, I love what Daphne and JD produce, right?
Mhm.
Stick to your game. They control the direction of their brands, of their properties, their IPs. Just stay focused. They're building,
Yeah.
they're cultivating a fan base. They're building a nice little empire, but one brick at a time. Just one brick at a time, and that's the way to do it.
It does. It takes time, man. It takes time and experience, right? Like I think if we could talk to our younger selves, and we can say to them what we know now, it'd be a whole different ballgame. It would be, and I
Oh, yeah.
think it would move faster because now we know. It's just the way life is, man. It's just the way life is. But I think when we talk about the freedom that we have as indies, it's great, right? It's great to think, that we can, because we do have the freedom to create. It's when we have to decide, and like Daphne put it very well there, product or art, what's it going to be?
Yeah.
Once it becomes a product, the freedom that you have with that product, you know, I don't want to say it goes away, but it gets limited.
Yeah.
It gets limited because like people mentioned, the corporations, they think they know better. It happens to a lot of these movies. It happens to a lot of these
Yes.
Marvel, DC movies when they flop. Usually, it's because the corporations got involved and say we need to do this and we need to put that and we
Yes.
need to put this in there and we
Well,
need to put that in there.
yeah,
You
a
know what I
lot.
mean?
Yeah. Again, and and this is where, like, from my opinion, it's not a very popular opinion. But my opinion is, don't get caught up in what's happening in society, because society right now is very toxic. Tell the story. Just
Yeah.
tell Batman's story. Just tell Superman's story. Just tell just tell hero stories and
Right.
action and event. People want to escape what's
Let us
happening in society.
Yeah, let us escape.
They don't
Yep.
want you to rub it in their faces on all the things that's happening. They
We
want to
know what's
escape.
wrong. Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? What's up? Andy the Sock. What's
Yo,
up?
what up, Sal?
What's up? Yeah,
Yeah,
brand
Canada,
identity is not only important, it definitely defines our freedom to create. Yes, and generate revenue. Absolutely. I
Very
agree.
well
And
said.
so that's what I'm saying. It's like, don't bring the politics to your project, right? And leave that out. The reason why people want to read books is because they want to escape. The people go to the movies because they want to escape. They want to escape from what's happening in the world. It's so toxic when you put on the news. It's so disheartening, right? Why do you want to have it in the book? No, I see it every day. That's why the sales have gone down. So you've turned away a lot of
Yeah.
people because, like, I don't want this.
And I agree with you, Sam. I think if the story is about that, then that's what the story is about. But
Yes.
if it was never about those political issues, don't inject them into that story
Yeah.
just because you think that that's the message you want to send out. You want to send a message, create something completely different and
Yeah.
make that and send that message out.
Just to
That's the way I
be
look at it.
politically
inject it.
correct or
Yeah,
socially relevant. That's like,
don't
yo, stop.
inject it. Yeah, don't
It's like,
inject
look
it
at
into
all
the
these
story.
things, these movements that come and gone, right? They start off with popular, and then then it becomes this other thing, and then there's this turmoil, and there's, just let it phase out.
Yeah.
What's happening, let it phase out. But I think we want, as creators and as observers and fans of the arts, We want a reason to forget where we are and just to go somewhere else and have fun for that moment.
Yeah, mindless entertainment, bro. You know what I
Kevin
mean?
Smith tells a great story about mole rats. Is what happens when you let the corporate hacks dictate your story. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You know,
Word, man. Word. Hey, Sam, are we getting
now
set up?
our guest hasn't showed up, so we're gonna
Oh, okay.
continue
So
this
we're gonna keep
conversation.
rocking. We're gonna keep rocking.
We're
All
gonna
right.
keep rocking. Yeah.
We're gonna keep
So
rocking. Yeah. No.
that
Thank
happens
you.
sometimes too. So
Yeah. Thank
it
you
it
guys
is
for
what it is.
joining us tonight. Yeah. No, we're gonna
Yeah,
continue this rocking.
I appreciate all of you guys for joining us. I miss you
Word.
guys. You
I
know,
miss you
yeah, I was
guys.
like, I've been working so hard. I've been so disconnected. I'm like, oh, I'm always grinding, and it's a lonely world. Do you think that it's because the idea of what is trending has more weight over originality when it comes to creating?
You know, that's a good question, dude. Like I feel like when you're pitching something to the corporations, to them, you always have to give them it's this meets that, right? They want you to be original, but give us your pitch, and they want to hear it's this meets that. And once you get that, I think you have kind of trouble with the originality because now it sounds like something else, and that's what
Yeah,
you're trying to sell is something else because that's what they
yeah.
want to hear. They want to know that it can sell, so it has to be that meets that. And once that happens, dude, like the originality kind of goes away. What did Daphne say?
She said, I think that's why I like writing
Ah,
about medieval times when I don't want to deal
with
with
the
real
real
life.
life,
And
yeah,
I think to answer your question, Charlie, I think what happens is there's that um the relatable syndrome, right? I relate, it's here's what happens with trends, right? So and it happens in the corporate settings, right? So you have somebody who's an acquisitions guy, right? And he brings in a new IP, right? And it pops off. Now everybody on that group is getting pressure from the heads saying, "Yo, where's yours?" So they try to bring something similar. The competition wants to get something similar and ride the coattail of what's trending, right? So then the people with the original content that's different from that, they're not going to get looked because everyone's trying to ride that wave of what's moving right now. So what you could have the next best thing, which is totally different, but you're going to get overlooked, overshadowed by they want
the sure
Monsters
thing.
Incorporated,
Yeah,
so
the
they
sure
want
thing.
someone else wants a monster series, right? It's like Goosebumps and this and that. So I think that's what happens. And so that's why I say it's always about timing, and you got to find the best ones are the ones who are looking for the gems. They're not looking for what's trending. They're looking for the next trend.
Mm.
Those are the best talent acquisitions um, um, people that you, and they're hard to find, right? Those are the ones who are just like, they know that they're going to walk the floors of San Diego Comic-Con. They're going to be looking at what the reaction at your table with the fans. They're going to pick up the book. They're going to ask some questions. You'll never know who they are because they're going to be dressed like mom and pop, right? And you never know who comes across your table. But those guys are looking for the diamond in the rough, those guys and girls. And those are the ones that can actually change your whole life.
Yeah.
And we've seen it. We've had so many people, licensing agents or whatever, that just came across and they just like a mother shopping with her kid, and it happens to be the senior vice president of Disney. So you never know who's going to come across your table. That's why I say put out the best work that you're capable of putting out, that you love, and you can sign your name and stand tall on. And you'll never know who you're going to meet, and just stay grounded and stay focused.
It was interesting. Like when you think about a store, an IP like The Walking Dead, for example, right? I think Robert Kirkman hit it, like he hit that sweet spot where it was trendy enough because it was zombies, but it was original enough because it wasn't about the zombies. It was about what happens when the people in that world interact with each other, and it becomes a character piece.
Yeah.
And he hit the sweet spot with that book where it was where the corporate people could say, oh, it's zombies, cool, we can sell zombies. And then the people who were looking for something different saw this idea of like these people in this world now, and it became a people thing.
Yeah. True story. I pitched my horror novel several times before going indie. Most publishers were in the trending business and told me horror doesn't sell unless the last name is King.
Jesus.
Right. And that's again because they don't, and I think, but someone like Robert Kirkman, right, came from left field. Nobody was doing that at the time.
Well, he tricked them.
Yeah.
He tricked them into picking it up because he told them it was going to be an alien invasion at the end. That's what he sold them on. Then
Yeah.
when they realized that was never going to happen, it was too late because the sales were already coming in, and they were buying the book like crazy without that stupid alien invasion that they thought they were getting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think that's what it is. It's tough. It's a tough game, especially today. It's tough because there's a lot of things. There's a lot of layers that you have to. It's almost like, was it Game of Death? Was it with Bruce Lee? What was it? Is it Game of Death?
no, it's
What's it called?
what I know somebody that knows it.
Not Enter
I
the
think
Dragon. It was Game of Death.
I
Right?
think
Was it
it
Game of
was.
Death? Yeah, with
It was
Kareem
a Game of
Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah,
Right.
with
You have to go through all
Kareem,
these.
that's right.
Yes, you have to go through all these layers. Right. The chambers of death. Right. Was it Chamber of Death? But anyway. So the point I'm trying to make is that you have to get past. You're going to get audited, right? So they're going to look at your book to see if there's anything that's can be socially controversial, right? So you got to get past that layer. Then they're going to look at copycat. What does it look like? Who are you trying to copy, right? They're going to get past that layer. Then it's going to be like, is it marketable, right? Can we make money from it? Is this a mini series? Is it an ongoing series? So all these things, they got to check the boxes. You're gonna go through this phase. That's why it takes so long when you're submitting stuff to get feedback, because now today it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder because it's being scrutinized by so many eyes. So you might have an editor that says, I like this, but then he has to take it into the pitch room and pitch it to his colleagues and his bosses. Yeah. And it's gotta pass that test.
Yeah. And the thing is too, is like there's so many more creators now, I feel like, or we can reach out, and there's so many more people that can reach out to the same. We have the same, we know the same things.
Yeah.
We can pitch just like anybody else can pitch. There was an author who told us she didn't get her big break and become a bestseller until a certain editor died, because that editor just didn't like her work.
Yeah.
Damn, dude's gotta die.
What up, Dan? And so I think that's the challenge, right? So it's the stigma. I mean, look at how many times J.K. Rowling got turned down before she got picked up, right? So I mean, and there's tons of them. I mean, Charles Schultz, they thought he couldn't draw, right? And he had $1 billion empire, right? So I think, but he stuck to his guns, right? And I think that's what it is. Do you truly love what you're doing? Are you passionate about it? Is it something that you want? Are you trying to build a brand? Or you just want to make money and get in the game? That's the difference. If you just want to get in the game, make money, then compromise all you want. But if you're trying to build a brand, that comes with risk, that comes with sacrificing, that comes with understanding where you want to go with this and what are you not willing to give up. And for me, I'm not willing to give up the rights. I'm not willing to compromise the essence and the heart of the story and the character. And I don't want somebody else telling me how to tell my story. You know what I mean? So that's where I stand. Do you think an Alan Moore, or going back away, an H.P. Lovecraft could break in today? Would they be considered too out mainstream?
Good question. That's an interesting question, man. I mean, Lovecraft, I think probably not. I mean, gotta head out. All right, thanks, Ryan. Appreciate you, brother. I think Lovecraft, because of we know what he was writing about and who he was. Maybe in today's world, probably not, because people would be like, "Yo, you're too racist," or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Alan Moore. I mean, I don't know, man. We talked about timing just a few minutes ago. And timing is a lot. Like the right time, coming in at the right time, and I think those guys came in at the right time. I don't think it would have worked any other way. I think there are certain people who maybe are timeless, and those to me are the classics, right? But I don't know, like Mary Shelley, for example, right? Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein. Would she? And I personally believe she would, because if you look at that book and what that book was about, it wasn't just about a monster. It was about how society viewed that monster.
Yeah.
So it was deeper than just a horror book, and I think that today still resonates. Somebody like Shakespeare, right? We still study him in school. Why? Because he's still relevant. He talked about love and Juliet, Romeo and Juliet is a timeless story about just families who don't like each other, and kids who fall in love who maybe are in the middle of it. So there are some people who would. I don't know that others. I don't know. What do you think they would have?
No, I think definitely monster stuff. will always be generational. People love monsters. Frankenstein, I think, I'm Frankenstein, right? And there's a point in your life where you're an outcast, right? There's a point in your life where you're different, right? Where people don't understand you. I think
Right.
we've all gone through that, and so that's why Frankenstein's relatable, right? Because I don't know anybody who didn't go through any period in school, whether it's
Yeah.
elementary, high
Puberty.
school, or
Yeah.
college, where there was a point where you felt like you were different, that they made it obvious that you were different, right? So, and then how do you overcome those things, right? You have two choices. You fight back or you isolate yourself, right? And so I think from that aspect, it's great storytelling. It just happens to be a monster, and he just wanted to be loved, right? And you think about it. So I think it all depends on the topic and the time. Artist question.
Uh-oh.
Do you think
Nothing
fan
else.
art holds back most creators from creating their own original works? Is fan art easy compromise versus taking the that's a really good question. I love that. What's
Wow.
up, Martino? I love that
Yo,
question,
damn, where
Charlie.
you been at, Mike?
Whoa, what's going on? All of us into comics and
Yeah,
the
that's
outcast.
true.
Whoa, the
That's true.
questions are
That
coming in
wasn't cool
fast.
back then. That
So
wasn't cool
much
back
of it
then.
is time in gaming. Basically, wrote HP before Rowling, but it didn't blow up like it could have because people weren't ready for it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
to answer your question, Charlie, yeah, I think when you go and you see it, you go to conventions, right? There's a group of people in Artist Alley that's all they do is fan art, right? And they're selling their fan art and they have their prints and all that other stuff, and maybe because that was the easy road for them, right? And because it's hard, dude, it's hard to create your own and build something from it. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of research, it takes a lot of dedication and commitment and trust that what you're doing, someone's going to buy into it, right? So that's the hard part. It's like, just because I love it doesn't mean that someone else is going to love it. I can go and do a Batman print and do this and do all this other stuff. So yeah. So I think it's you'll see it. I mean, you go to conventions and you just see it. There's a big difference.
Yeah,
I was one of them.
I yeah, I've seen too many people get pro work at Disney because of fan art to complete this. Yeah, no, and then that was gonna be my point. Like we used to call that contraband. Like if you were an indie creator and you had like these pieces of like Deadpool or whatever on the table and you're trying to sell your book, you're killing yourself. You're killing your own property because people are gonna buy Deadpool before they buy something that they don't know.
Yeah.
Right. But I think to me, you have to be able to use that. You have to be smart enough to use it. If you're an artist, use that to your advantage.
Yep.
If you're an artist, use it. If people want to buy Deadpool, then draw Deadpool, but say to them, I'm also drawing this. This is my book. This is me. You
Well,
can buy
that's
this
and,
Deadpool
and that's a
print.
great point because that's why
Yeah.
I do the duty as, right?
No, well, yeah,
So-
that's
yeah.
what I'm saying. Yeah. So to me, yeah, does it deter people from buying some stuff? Sometimes, yeah, absolutely. But at least now they have a piece that you drew, and if they become a fan of you, then they'll become a fan of your book. And so you have to kind of be able to use that. You got to use it to your advantage. It's harder for a writer to do that. As a writer, I can't have a Deadpool piece by the artist that drew my book. I'm not the artist that drew my book. They don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When do you pull the plug on something when it doesn't resonate or attract an audience, or do you? See, all depends.
good
We had that question, right? I
Yeah,
think
that's good.
I had that debate in a store with another creator when I was doing a free comic book day. We were doing a book signing, and it was about if you worked on it for 10 years and you got no traction, maybe you need to get you and drop it and work on something else. It all depends, right? Because you think about it in the scheme of things. I'm gonna use you as an example, Daphne, right? So Daphne's been in the game for a long time. She's cultivated a nice following, right? But the world as a whole doesn't know that 4 or 5,000, whatever that population is that supports Daphne's books and loves what she produces. They don't know that there's a small population of people that bought into it because of reach. If she had the reach, that's a different story. So there's millions of people that don't know the property exists, and if they do, they'll be experiencing it for the first time. So when you say you should give it up, based on what? So for me, it's like we think we're in a small grouping, right? Indie comics, right? And we think it's a big population, but think about it. A couple of people, 100 people here, a couple of 100 people there that bought into your book. There's millions of people out there that don't even know it exists. Same thing with what we do, right? So it's still new. It might not be new to the readers, but it's
Yes.
new to the millions of people who've never seen it before, or the hundreds of thousands of comic book collectors who haven't actually been introduced to the property yet. So why give up when you still have so many people to reach?
Yeah.
So you slowly build and you work on your strategy, and you're hoping that the audience that you've cultivated become your champions and they promote for you as well. Right?
I think a lot of it too is time. We've been talking about this whole time. It's timing, right? What may not pop off 10 years ago, it didn't happen. Now may be the right time to bring it back out and get it out there to the public, because now the public is ready for what you were trying to push back then. And to your point, Russ 5377, for example, my book, I'm putting it out digitally.
That's
right
my
now.
favorite.
Issue 1, right? That book's been out for a very long time. But to your point, how many people bought it? Right? Now
Yes.
people are like, wait a minute, what is that? They don't know what it is. So now I inject it back into the market, into the audience, and see what happens. You know what I mean? Like our stories, I think, as indies tend to be timeless stories, right? Because these are things that I think you can inject them at any point, at any moment. You know, like stuff that you mentioned, Daphne, stuff that they're writing, right? Like, you know, she's got Eagle Raven. Eagle Raven was a character she created many years ago. It was just a logo on her website, and now she's killing it on Kickstarter. Every Kickstarter, you know, is getting better. She's growing, and all of a sudden, that story's taking. You know, she redid some of the things because it's such an older story. She's redoing some of it. She's gotten better as an artist, and that's what happens. We get better as artists. We get better as writers. We start changing stuff. Yeah, George. No, Nick. That's only Russ. I wonder that. My books are a hard sell, but I do them because I love the work. There's not reason for me to stop just because my audience is small compared to the general population. No,
exactly. No. And that's my point. And
no,
so for me, you need to develop that backlist.
Big after you're dead. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying is, so I think what happens is when you're having a debate, you're talking apples to oranges. We don't have the capital, the marketing reach. So we got to rely on the tools that we have at our disposal. And we hope that the people that buy into what we do, they go out there and promote it as well. And they say, hey, you got to pick up this book, right? And that's how you build. And then it's about being consistent, making sure you're constantly relevant, you're constantly producing, you're constantly, you know, putting out information, you're building your email list. All these things you got to do, which requires work that most indies don't want to do, which is why they give up so quickly. Yeah. It's difficult. It's frustrating. There at night, you're like, why am I doing this? You know, right there, I go through that all the time. At least once a month, I'm staying in the bed. It's like, yo, Sam, are you being stubborn? Yo, Sam, when is this gonna pop off? Yo, Sam, maybe you should have gone and done that. Yo, Sam, right? We go through that, you know, and I think it's okay. But then I have that moment of doubt, and then I wake up in the next morning and I'm back in the game and I'm doing it all again.
You gotta love it, bro. You gotta love it. D. It's productive. Have a good night, my brother. Thank you. No, yeah, dude, it's you gotta love it, bro. This is a passion. You have to love it. You can't just come in here thinking I'm gonna make some money off of this. You gotta love it, because there are gonna be nights, like you said, and even when you do make it, that imposter syndrome is real.
Yes.
Even after you're in and people are buying your stuff and they like it and they like you start doubting yourself, like, why are they buying this? Is it like, are they really buying this? You know, so you start having those thoughts in your mind as well. So it's a mind trip, man. But you have to love it, because if you don't love it, you're not gonna last in this.
And celebrate the wins. Like, you know, for instance, like I was just talking to George about this today, right? So I've decided I'm not gonna do any of the fan expos, because they're really basically outpricing the small guy, right? They just raised their price to $500 for a table, right? And I'm like, for a 6-foot table with only like 2 feet behind you, and you're squashed in, your name doesn't go on the website, you don't get your information until like 2 weeks before the event. They don't. There's no respect there. So I'm not doing it. I'm doing a Denton Comic Art Exposition. They posted on social media. Guess who's back? We're so excited to have Sam Vera back, the creator of this. Nailed in my toilet. They didn't have to do that, right? There's, for me, those are the events I want to go to where they treat you special, right? Those are the events you want to go to. I love that Denton Comic Expo. What I love about them as well is that it's free to the public, right? And so you get all these people from all walks of life that come in and whatever, and it's fun. And when you're there, they give you refreshments as a vendor, and they treat you special. So for me, it's like, that says that what I did when I was there the last time stood out to them, and they say we definitely want him back, right? So those are the things that reinforce why I'm doing it. It's those little things that make a difference in your psyche, right? It's like, wow, I really feel special. Someone appreciates what I do, right? Even if it's one person, right? And sometimes that's all you need.
I think what you also need to do is also find yourself a friend or a buddy in this industry that is just as passionate as you, and talk about this stuff,
Mhm.
keep each other motivated.
Yeah.
Because it's a lonely world out there, bro. As an
Yeah.
indie, yeah, indie, it's in the freaking word.
Yeah.
So when you don't have that, it's easy to just say, f this, man, I'm done. But if you have somebody asking you, yo, what's up with that book? You finished that? Did you do that? How's that going? Oh, I just created this, I did that, I did. It's nice to have that conversation with somebody who understands what you're doing and what you're going through, because our significant others sometimes don't understand it, right? They don't get it. They don't. Okay, yeah, that's cool. You
Yeah. No,
can't
no.
really talk to them about it, right?
No.
Because they don't get it. But
No.
when you find somebody that does get it, a buddy, a friend, whatever, it's different. It makes
Yeah.
it makes it worthwhile. All
Yeah.
right, cool. I can't wait to get this done. I can't wait to
Yeah.
do it. What was that Daphne said? I'm obsessing with this book called The 1 Hour Content Plan. Oh, it has me thinking of my work and a way of marketing online I haven't thought about in a while. And that's the other hat we got to wear, right? Love the work, but understand that the other types of work, especially marketing, you need to do. Yeah, that's the other
Yeah.
side of it, right? We love to be creators. We put we hang our hat on the fact that we're creatives, but we also have to be business people,
Yeah.
right? We have to be marketers. We have to do this. We have to understand that that's also the other side of that.
Yeah. And that, not only that, I mean, and if you're an artist and you have a YouTube channel, that requires a whole nother level of commitment, right? Because what I found is people are loving the videos that I'm putting on the art channel, and now I have to keep up because now there's an expectation, right? So now I'm like plotting out future episodes, and I'm writing scripts for this and how I'm going to edit and all these other things that takes away from time. But I'm trying to build a
Yeah.
following, and and the what sealed the deal for me with the art channel is when I was in Puerto Rico, and I had a couple of people who subscribed to the channel in Puerto Rico came to meet me to tell me how they appreciate the
Oh,
what I do.
yeah,
That's crazy
yeah,
for me. I was like, what? I
yeah.
was, so I think so there are people that appreciate what you do, even if it's a small population. For me, that's more worthless. That's priceless. It's
Yeah,
priceless. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? It's like you can't. Someone
Ah,
else is laughing at
and
your
that
story or enjoying it.
Yeah,
It's
and
awesome.
that's the stuff that keeps you going, right?
Yeah, man.
It's those little things. It doesn't have to be big. It's just those little things that boom automatically keep you motivated, and yeah, makes a difference, dude. Makes a big difference.
Makes a huge difference, and I think, that's what it is. I think at the end of the day, just ask yourself, why am I doing this? Am I in it just for a quick buck, or am I in it to build a brand? If you're in it to build a brand, there's going to be a lot of restless nights and heartache and and letdowns and emotional roller coasters. And I'm telling you, a good old fashioned. If you ever had an old fashioned, nice drink, helps calm my nerves, because there are days where I'm like, "What the bloody hell am I doing?" Right, and then I reset, and then I go over to the draft table. The safest space for me on this planet is sitting at that draft table and just drawing. You know what I mean? That's where I have the most fun. Go back to your point. I will say, guys, I learned more for sales being a vendor at a Comic Con than
Huh.
I did. Yeah, yeah,
But you know what? A big shout out to Sal, because Sal had it on lock. I remember being across from him, and his table was just booming. But you're right. You learn from that. Any mistake you make, and that's why I think that when the convention shut down for a while, it was scary, bro. It was like during
yeah.
the pandemic. It was scary. But that's when Kickstarter and all the crowdfunding things blew
Popped
up,
off. Yeah,
because we had nothing else. We had nothing. It was just that. But he's absolutely right. You learn so much behind that table about how to sell, what to sell, pitching, convincing people. I remember Sal had a bell. Bing! And people be like, what the hell is that? It was almost like Pavlov's dogs, bro. Like, and he would just bring it and just created this atmosphere of fun. It's fun to go to that table. Let me go there. So you learn little things about that you wouldn't know if you were just trying to sell online.
yeah. And not only that, you also learn from your fellow artists. When I go to conventions, I like to go early in the morning. Yeah, after I set up my booth, I like to walk around. I get ideas from people's setups.
Oh, I love walking around.
What
It's the best.
how Huh? Yeah, it's the best.
The best.
You get all these ideas and inspiration, and then I listen to conversations like the people who really do the pitch well. I'm like, yo, I gotta fine tune my pitch, and I'm like listening. I'm like, it's like, oh, yeah, that was a good hook, right? And so I think there's two things. Number one, when you're there, you're in an arena to learn and to connect, right? And network, and that's the best place to be. I mean, I love it. I mean, I have 4 more events this year lined up. I'm excited about it. I mean, that's where I'm at my best when I'm talking to people. I love the face to face, that engagement, bro.
Yeah, and to Lori's point, when somebody says that, like when somebody says, what was her comment?
You
Someone
inspired
saying
me
you
to do
inspired me
X.
to do X is create a cocaine. It really is.
Yeah,
When somebody comes up to you and does that, you know what I mean? It's very
yeah,
true. Yeah.
yeah.
Good
I
deal,
mean,
man.
and I think don't be so arrogant where you feel you can't learn from everybody, bro. What's up, Paulie G in the
Yo,
house?
what
You know what
up,
I'm saying?
Paul?
It's
Yeah.
like, I tell you right now, there's a population of creators, anime creators, right? And you'll see them at certain events where they have this big, beautiful, elaborate booths, and they got all this tchotchke stuff. They got keychains and all this or whatever. But they put a lot of thought into the design and set up at their booths, and that's where I got a lot of my ideas from. I was like, man, these girls really know, because I think sometimes guys can be lazy, right? And we're gonna do the basics, right? But some of these girls are so damn talented with the visuals, right? The presentation,
Well,
right? And so I'm like, whoa, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. So if you look at my booth today, a lot of the influence came from these anime creators.
but you got to remember, dude, when we started, bro, it was enough to have a tablecloth, some books on the
That's
table,
it.
and that was it. That was enough. Now you have to stand out. There
Yeah.
are so many people at these conventions. There are so many indie creators. There are so many people doing really great things that you have to step your game up. You have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
you're just gonna get lost. You can no longer just have just a tablecloth and some books,
Yeah.
unless we said it earlier. Unless you're Brian Polito or you're Todd
You just show
McFarlane,
up and sit
and
down
you
and
just show
sign.
up and bam, everything's off the table. I sold it. I'm out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They ain't pay anything for the table. Unless you have that kind of clout, you have to stand out.
Yeah, if you had my video, my setup gets bigger and bigger, right? So every time I'm like,
Well,
yo, where's
and that's the other thing is you have to be careful that it doesn't get too big to the point
right
where it's off-putting because it's just too much. It's overload. It's just too much there. So you have to find that balance.
to look good in social media
Yeah,
design? Yeah,
design your
yeah,
table for
yeah,
Instagram.
yeah,
Word,
yeah,
word.
exactly. It's like and I think that's the biggest thing. It's like, so you want to be able to, like, what are the things that attracted a lot of people who wouldn't have bought the book were the other stuff that I had, the prints, the keychains, the stickers, the buttons, and so they would come over, oh, I like that keychain, how much is it? Oh, I like this. And then it's like, well, that's the character from my story. This is my comic book I created. Then like, oh,
The hook.
I'll
You
take it.
have to have the
Yes. And
hook.
they're like, oh, what how many issues are there? I said, well, I have 1 through 4, whatever. You start that conversation. But because not everyone's going to want the comic, they're going to want something else. So I try to offer as much as I can within my means to be able to get to a broader audience. And that's basically what I found. A good percentage of the people in the past few conventions were attracted to the other stuff that were not comic books. But then they ended up walking away with the comic book after that brought them in. That was the hook. And then I just had to deliver the pitch afterwards.
Right.
And so I think that's the was it, unless you're a pinball. It's funny. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta find what works for you. But again, if you're starting out, a tablecloth and your book and a print is all you need. And then you start building from there. I mean, look how long it took me to get to where I am with my setup. It took years, learning and learning and learning. I think the setup I have now is pretty legit, and it's been working for me. And so that's what I'm going to stick with. But again, you got to find what works for you. It's not an easy. There's no right or wrong answer, guys. It's all trial and error. Test and try, test and try, test and try. You're gonna have some wins, you're gonna have some losses, and then you're gonna find what works for you. You're gonna find your voice, your lane, and then what you want. And that's what I'm building is people gonna say, I know that's a Sam piece. That's what I want. Oh, I know that was illustrated by Sam. Oh, that's a Sam piece. That's what I want to hear. And that's what I'm working towards. And that means that I gotta keep grinding.
Yes, indeed, my friend. Well, listen, our guest didn't show up tonight, but that
No.
didn't stop us from having a great show. Thank you so much, everyone.
Everybody,
who
yeah.
showed up tonight. Big shout
Yeah.
out to you all. Thank you so much for keeping us entertained with the questions and
Yeah. If
know
you
what I
like
mean?
this episode,
Awesome.
don't forget to give us a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. Remember, when we grow, the indie community grows, and that's why we do the show. It's to give the a spotlight to those who don't have the reach, right? And that's why Crash Craze was created for in 2005, and that's why we do what we do today. It's really just to connect with guys like us, and give them a voice.
Yeah.
Hey, what's
What
up?
up, Chris? All right, man. Thank you. Big Mike. Mike, where's number 4, bro? I'm waiting for number 4. Big shout out to Michael San Martino. I haven't seen you in a while, kid. Anyway, yes, Sam. So what else we got? Another great show. Thanks, Lou. Appreciate you.
Yeah. With that said, again, don't forget that we do have an art contest going, and enter the art contest and draw Duty and one of the characters from the series. Click the link; it's in the summary in this live stream. And for instructions, and the deadline is August 1st. Get a chance to win $100 a month free of promotion on Catch the Craze, a one-on-one interview, plus get featured in issue number 6 of There's an Alien in My Toilet. Again, just draw Duty and one of the characters, and
one of the characters, other characters, not Duty as something else. 2 different characters.
George B. throwing some wrench in there. So where are you going to be at the 19th? George is going to be.
I'm going to be at Royal Collectibles, everyone, over in Flushing, Queens, with designated team, Mark Torres and his comic book. AR coming your way. Wow.
No, AR is not. Doesn't qualify.
We're going to be doing a signing on Wednesday, July 19th. So if you're in Flushing, New York, Queens, New York, go check it out. Royal Collectibles. We'll be there from 3 to 6 p.m. And don't forget that Russ 5377 #1, the digital version of the book, is available today. Go to any1world.com. That's N, the letter E, the number 1, world.com. And download a copy today. Yeah, yes, man. And
don't forget, go to Kid in the Comic. Get your copy of the newspaper comic strip where Duty's featured as a comic strip, kidinthecomic.com, or go to your local bookstore and ask them to order directly from a Kid in the Comic. So with that said, we appreciate every single one of you. I am Sam the Crazy Man Vera.
George the Dreamer Medina.
And we are out.
It's just easy. It's not.
Crazy. Acquiesce.
No, it's about my friend Acquiesce. Say my name, right?
This is what you were thinking? Oh,
How you describe me? He said, I'm the
what? Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze. Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.